Who's playing politics? Who's responsible for the housing shortage in the city of Cape Town? And what are the practical solutions that are needed to deal with this issue? Here to unpack this, I'm joined by Patricia, Lille, leader of the Good Party and Minister of Public Works and Infrastructure, the City of Cape Town Mayoral Committee member for Human-Settlements, Malusi Boy, and Patriotic Alliance leader, who is also the mayoral candidate in the City of Cape Town. That's Marvin, Sampson. You're a part of this conversation tonight. You can send us your WhatsApp questions now. We'll take them live. 072-110-5584. You can tweet us at Newzroom 405. Minister, good evening, and thank you very much for your time. Gentlemen, good evening, and it's good to have you with us tonight here on In Focus. Who's playing politics, Minister, with essentially what is a question of dignity, an essential thing that is housing? But it looks like the political forces are using this as a political football in the lead up to local government elections.
Well, Tabo, I will disagree to call it mudslinging. It's really the truth versus lies. The truth backed up by facts and proof, and lies that people are putting along. And it's very wrong to play a political football with the need of people. It's dangerous. Imagine you sit there in an informal settlement waiting for a house, and here you hear all this bickering about housing. But also to be so insensitive, to come with a proposal to say, take out all of those members of parliament, including his own party's members, 60 of them living there. We have inherited from our colonial past and apartheid past, where the executive is in Pretoria and parliament is in Cape Town. They've never, when the National Party was in charge, asked for that houses to be released for housing. But now today, of at least 300 and odd members of Parliament and NCOP are using that for accommodation when they come to Parliament and when they do their oversight work, because they don't live in Cape Town.
Did you, as the mayor, though, not ask for the same thing when you were the mayor of the City of Cape Town to National to release large parcels of land?
What I did ask for when I was the mayor of the City of Cape Town was to release some of the military land. And the moment I became the minister, I started working on that. Went for a site visit with 3 other ministers. We are in the process of looking at the land that is not being utilized by the military. We're making progress in Wingfield, and I have been working together with the mayor of the City of Cape Town there in Plato. Right. So, you know, all this infighting in the DA is now rearing its ugly head.
We'll get to the bottom of it. Let's bring them in. Let's bring them in. We want to get to the finer details of it. MMC Boy, good evening. Good to have you with us. Who should be held accountable for the lack of transformative inner city housing in the City of Cape Town?
Good evening, and good evening to the viewers. I think ourselves as a DA, we have taken it upon ourselves to make sure that we expedite the issue of service delivery in relation to housing and other services. You would have seen myself, the mayor, and also our executive going around the city, delivering houses on a daily basis to our citizens. The case in point, which is the issue of Acacia Park, if I can respond to it quickly. I don't understand that a person who's earning more than R1 million per annum must be given a house where they're paying only less than 300 rand a month. That is ridiculous. That is spitting to the poor. And we are saying that particular site must be given to the city so that we can do development.
Is the Premier of the Western Cape spitting on the poor, staying in the Premier housing?
He's not spitting on the poor. He's not spitting on the poor.
Does he not have a home in Cape Town already?
No. That's that particular site. And those are the conversations that we need to have. That particular site, which belongs to public works, we're saying that site must be released immediately so that the poor can benefit, because it's more than 50 hectares of land that is sitting there benefiting the elite, and that is not supposed to be the case. And we are saying that land must be released immediately. Let me also go to the letter that you referred to. Minister wrote, as the mayor of the City of Cape Town, wrote to the then President Jacob Zuma to release Wingfield and Youngsfield.
And I've actioned it.
Upon me, because we are dealing with facts now. I've got the letter here in front of me, I can show you.
Yes.
When I got in on the 9th of July 2019, I asked for the same land parcels. Those land parcels, 3 years later, they have not been released to the city. The same person who has asked those land parcels to be released has not actioned them. Now, who's telling lies here? There is a project that we are doing that will give us a yield of more than 3,000 housing opportunities here in Conrad. Yeah. She knows about it. It's in Pinelands, next to her house. It's next to a golf estate.
Right. We
are bringing people closer to transport nodes, to economic opportunities. Yeah. We go to Woodstock, Salt River, on things that never delivered on as the mayor. I've handed over the...
Let's talk about that question of Salt River. When you came in 2019, did you cancel the RFPs?
We cancelled how she packaged the entire development. What we did was not to cancel it, was to repackage it.
Yeah. You don't want black people in the city, that's your problem.
When the minister was speaking, I never uttered a word.
It's fine, it's fine. Go ahead, Melissa.
Thank you. Now, in December, we deferred the matter back in October. Yeah. In December, on the same year, when I assumed the responsibility of being a mayoral committee member, I took that, and now it's in motion. Social housing, which is communique, was appointed. They are on final stages. Before January, we'll have communique on site at Salt River. We are doing the final stages of planning this particular process. Also in Pickwick, we have moved people who were in informality, where we have also handed over a particular site on Pine Road to Sokro. Because there is this narrative that is being driven by the minister and her party, that there is no inner city development. Yeah. I'm not talking about something
I'll come to those details, Malusi, in a moment. Hold on a sec. We've got enough time. I'll give you a chance. I want to bring in the Patriotic Alliance into this conversation. Two big parties going at each other in the city of Cape Town. Marvin, where do you sit on this? Who should be held accountable for the transformative inner housing in the city?
Hi, good evening to the viewers. Good evening to my colleagues here. Tabu, the question, and we can see clearly, we continue with this blame game. We continue blaming each other. And we have the situation in the Western Cape where we have political parties that use this housing issue to play our black brothers and our colored brothers and sisters up against each other. You have the situation where you allow some people to use land, you allow some people not to use land to build their houses on. The same applies for the allocation of housing. We have these political parties coming and saying that we have people from the Eastern Cape coming and they're taking the houses. No, that is not the case. We need to look at the system that governs the allocation of housing. We need to look at the system that governs the allocation of land, that makes land available to our homeless people, to those that come from other provinces. And we should not be playing the people of the Western Cape up against the people from other provinces. Let me make an example, Tabu. You allow people to build houses in a place like Delft. You allow people to use land, and you have your law enforcement agencies looking on while the people are doing this. Yeah. And then you have a situation in Hout Bay, on Hangberg. If one structure goes up, if one sec goes up, the city of Cape Town comes with the full might of the law to take these structures down. So clearly, it is a blame game, and we're using it for political gain. Why some are allowed and others are not. And that is why I'm saying we need to re-look at a system that governs the allocation of housing.
Right. Let's come back to that question in a moment. What is the system that allocates the houses, and how does that work in the city of Cape Town? We'll unpack that more. Good party leader Patricia stays with us, the MMC for Human Settlements in the city of Cape Town. Malusi Boy, as well as Patriotic Alliance mayoral candidate Marvin Sampson. Live with us tonight on In Focus, Newzroom Afrika, channel 405. Thanks for staying on the debate. We're taking it live. It's been everywhere. and this exchange or engaging in words around the housing situation in the city of Cape Town. City of Cape Town saying nationals should release huge parcels of land. Apparently, Minister, you need to answer to the 6 large pieces of land that could possibly build 93,000 affordable housing. Eysterplaat, Denel, Columberg, Youngsfield, Wingsfield, and Upper Darling Street. We'll get to that in a moment. But answer to the question that Malusi is saying, that you have not even acted on your own letter that you wrote to former President Jacob Zuma.
Yeah, you know what? They think by repeating the lies later on, people will start to believe it. The moment I became minister, I took up the issue of the military land. I had a visit with Minister of Defense, the Minister of Rural Development and Land Reform. We visited all of those land parcels. We engaged with the Department of Defense and we looked at what pieces of land are they still using. Some places they store weapons and stuff like this. And we've agreed what pieces will be released. The first piece will be in Wingfield, because right next to Wingfield there's a piece of land of the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure that we are going to package together. So I have actioned what I've said in 2018. And the proof is there. And the mayor of the city of Cape Town, Dan Plato, is aware about this. The lie comes, Tabu, when the DA pretend that they cannot build houses because they are waiting on land from national government. That is the myth that must be dispelled. Yeah. Because I can tell you now...
They're saying the way you set up your Salt River Woodstock Precinct Affordable Housing Project, the way you packaged it was incorrect. That's why they had to stop that and repackage it. And now they are on their way to releasing those parcels of land.
That was in 2017 when I released those parcels of land. He, Malusi Boy, was part of the caucus of the DA that approved it. They all approved it as a party, because the DA had a principle, whatever, of redress. But when I wanted to implement the redress, that was the cause of my fallout with the DA. Also, he is the MACO member for HumanSettlements. He must answer. There's a piece of land that I bought when I was the mayor in Park de Vlei, next to the sea, for affordable housing. I bought another piece of land, a farm, for the people of the Noon. Nothing, that land is just lying empty today. So they mustn't pretend that they can't do anything for the people of Cape Town because they are waiting on land from national government. That is my problem with their lies.
What do you say to this assertion, it was repeated here, that what you're talking about are small pieces of land, essentially that could build, 4,000 housing units when you could be building 93,000?
You know, I mean, this mayoral candidate, Jordan Hill-Lewis, is in the property business himself. He just recently bought an old house, and he was going to demolish that house and build 4 departments on top of each other. You go up, you go density. So the 6 hectares of land right under those unfinished bridges, it's enough to build, to go up density. So I mean, it's not rocket science. But this thing didn't start now before the elections. I must put it in context. It started in 2016 already. And 2016, soon after I ran as the mayor of the city of Cape Town and got a 2/3 majority, I had a mandate to continue to integrate the city. When I started doing that, that was my big fallout with the DA.
Yeah. Put it plainly then for us today. Why is the DA not responding to the need for housing, especially affordable housing in the inner city?
You know, there's another court case. It's called the Tafelberg School, where they could have built affordable housing. They sold it to a developer. National government took them to court, and they lost in the court. And the court was scathing about them of not integrating the city. Where we are today, both the city and the province, they're appealing the High Court judgment. So that valuable piece of a school is just standing there nothing is happening because they don't want to release it. They don't want to integrate the city. That is their biggest problem.
Yeah. Are you refusing Malusi to integrate?
But that is not true, and she knows that very well. I want her to respond now on the question that I've asked, when is she releasing Wingfield? I need the date and time so that I can get my officials to start preparing for that particular site, or both of those sites. If she can commit today on the date and time, I'll be happy. Two,
to do what?
Patriotic, it was even approved because Patriotic is going to assist us in terms of unlocking the site that she's referring to, but also doing Sandral. We are working with Sandral. We have signed an implementation protocol with Sandral that has been approved by MECO. That is in motion. We'll be getting a yield of more than 4,000 housing opportunities on that particular precinct. In Annandale, that particular precinct next to Danone is just a small piece of land which will just give us over 1,000 housing opportunities. Now, the sites that she's keeping and giving all sorts of reasons tonight are sites that can give us a huge yield which can unlock the backlog that we have, which is more than 300,000 on our waiting list. We are saying those land parcels, including the Acacia Park, which is more than 50 hectares, must be released today. She must make a commitment and not be all over the show, because I've demonstrated.
But Malusi, here's the thing, that the release of housing is, by and large, from what I hear, a collaborative effort between province, between national, as well as local government. So local government needs to release those pieces of land that are in the hands of local government. You cannot say, well, we're not releasing this piece of land because national must release bigger chunks of land. If you are saying to me, we have exhausted our release of land, there's nothing left, national now must come on board, it would probably be a different conversation that we're having.
It's exactly that. Each and every land parcel that is earmarked for housing development, that is owned by province and by the city of Cape Town, those land parcels across the city, there's action that is happening. It's either it's on planning phase, or there's construction, or we are handing over houses. You go from Delft, you go to Hout Bay, you go to Atlantis, you go to Kailicha, you go to Misha's Plain, on all the areas in Strand, tomorrow in Strand, where we'll be doing a site visit on a housing project that will give us a yield of more than 1,800. I'm not talking about pipe dreams here. I'm talking about facts. I'm asking a simple question.
What's the criteria? Marvin is asking on Delft. Marvin, what's your question on Delft? Sorry, Malusi. Marvin, come in.
Yes. Thank you, Tabu. Thank you. Sorry, Minister. We have a situation, before we even talk about going into the inner city, let's look at Delft. Let's look at Blikkiesdorp, which Jan Zille was responsible for Blikkiesdorp. Look at Blikkiesdorp. We have people in Guguletu where rats are eating babies' toes. This is the situation that we are living in. And let's move closer to home. Let's look at Mitchell's Plain. Now close to elections, and this is why I'm saying every time it comes to elections, this is the same situation. Why wait 5 years before developing? Why do you want to wait 5 years before you want to build houses? And every time it is a couple of months before election. Blikkiesdorp should never have happened. Our people was sold a lie. Our people were removed from where they were living, and they were said they were going to give them houses. It's temporary. It's years that our people have been living here. So this is clearly, it's a blame game. And what does the Patriotic Alliance say? The Patriotic Alliance is saying the following: there's enough land that the city owns. Who leased the golf courses? Why do we need so many golf courses? There's enough land available, and they are dragging their feet, and they are using this as political points every time when it comes close to elections.
MMC,
this is unacceptable.
Let's talk Delft.
Can I respond?
Who is allowed and who's not allowed, and why others are allowed and others are not allowed?
Yes.
Thabo?
Yes.
As I've indicated, in Delft, let's take Delft that is being raised here. In Delft, today, we have built more than 2,400 houses there. I'm handing them over every week. I don't know where Marvin has been. In Kailicha, we are doing the same. in Guguletu that he's also raising. In Guguletu, we have houses that are more than 1,200. They're in Mau Mau, in 8448 next to Fezeka. Those sites are under construction. That's why I'm saying I don't talk lies, I talk facts. Because what we do, we deliver. Now, let me finish. On all these land parcels that I'm talking about that belong to the city, construction is underway. The city is a construction site as I speak to you. That is for that reason that even the minister herself, she knew when she made the request to the president at the time that we were short of land parcels, huge land parcels. Now she's giving all sorts of stories instead of giving us the land parcels that we require so that we can keep the rollout of the housing development that we're doing in the city, in the inner city, and also other areas. Yeah. In Belleville, we have a mixed development of people who earn between 1,500 up to 15,000 rand. So that is complete. It's Eindhoven. It's a huge development. We have people who earn more than 15,000 up to 22,000 rand, and also upmarket. That particular precinct on its own, it has given us more than 2,500 housing opportunities. Hence, I'm saying every site that belongs to the city is a construction site. And
let's interrogate that further, Malusi. I'm going to take a break. When we come back, every site that is in the ownership of the city is being currently used as a building site for housing. That's what the city of Cape Town is saying here. Joined by Patricia, leader of the Good Party and Public Works Infrastructure Minister, City of Cape Town Mayoral Committee member and HumanSettlements, and we've got Malusi Boy there, and Patriotic Alliance Cape Town Mayoral candidate Marvin Sampson. All right, taking your questions tonight live on 072-110-5584. Focus the conversation on housing, social housing in particular in the inner city of Cape Town. Who should be held accountable for the lack of transformative housing, particularly in the inner city of Cape Town? Is the question we're asking tonight. We'll take your thoughts on that. 072-110-5584, as well as your tweets tonight at Newzroom 405. Before the break, Malusi Boy, the MMC for HumanSettlements in the city, saying every piece of land owned by the city is currently under construction. Now, in 2017, Minister, you brought in the paper, you released these 11 parcels of land. These are the 11 parcels, 5 of which yourself, you said you got to approve. In fact, not approve, but at least get RFPs to come in. That's the Woodstock Hospital site, Woodstock Hospital Park, Pickwick Street, New Market Street, as well as Roland Street. And these were later cancelled because what you call procedural stonewalling or anti-transformation agenda in the city. However, they're saying there were procedural flaws in these. Now they've released all of them. Well, at least not all of them, at least the 5. There's still 7 more or so that have not been released. But you also say the DA is sitting on 14,000 hectares of developed land.
Yeah, you know, Taba, I do have a solution. I do like transparency and openness. It's the role of all 3 spheres of government with their own asset registers. They've got their own asset registers and their own land and their own buildings. That the 3 spheres of government come together. And I will invite Malusi Boy next week. You bring yours from the city. When I was the mayor, I did a land audit. We found 3,000 pieces of land that we didn't even know belonged to the city. I've got a flash drive with all the land that belongs to the provincial government. There are at least 450 vacant pieces of land. And then I've got national government land. We have already released national government land. The city ran out of burial space. So then Plato, we released some land to assist the city after the COVID-19, part of the COVID-19 pandemic, to help the mayor with that. We are talking to the mayor right now because I said to the mayor of the city of Cape Town, with or without the DA, we're going to integrate the city of Cape Town. We have to deal with the apartheid spatial planning. And that is the thing that Cape Town can't remain this divided city. So we will be releasing Customs House, which will bring affordable housing for people right in the city center. the injustice, Tabo, is that people used to live there before. They were forcibly removed by the Group Areas Act. They were thrown out. They were dumped on the Cape Flats. I was in Menenberg yesterday. It is very sad, and that's why I don't want to play politics. I agree with Marvin from the Patriotic Alliance. This blame game, but that's my solution, and I will invite Marvin to come with, and whoever else wants to come with me and Malusi Boy, and then he bring the city asset register. I've got a provincial asset register, and I'll bring national. And then we can show the people of Cape Town, and indeed the province, who owns what. So that nobody can hide behind to say, oh no, we can't build houses, the pieces of land that we have is too small, and all of that. That's my invitation to them.
The invitation to you is terminate the lease agreements. I'm going to come to you, Marvin, in a moment. Terminate the lease agreements. It's spitting on the faces of the poor to have people who earn millions to be paying 300 rands to go and stay in Cape Town.
That is also because of our public spatial planning. Give me an alternative. But the very same DA government in the province, they provide housing for their public representatives, for the MECs nogal. Anybody that live more than 50 kilometers outside of the city of Cape Town, the legislature, Western Cape legislature, provide them with free housing. So what is... the public reps of the DA in Acacia Park also called me and said, look, we're happy here. This mayoral candidate is speaking for himself. In any case, he don't need a house in Acacia because he's got a house in the city of Cape Town. So let us stop the blame game, and I make an open invitation for whoever wants to join us for the sake of transparency, but let's begin to speak spatial justice. Let's begin to say public land must be used for public good. I'm ready for that, Mr. Malusi. I hope after the elections you will still be the mayoral, the MEC, but doesn't matter who's going to be there. I'm prepared to work with the city. I have worked with the city. Right. I've worked with the province. Right. Right now, there's a city central line where people are living.
I'm going to come to that. I wanted to come to that. I wanted to tell me exactly what you're doing there. But yes. Marvin, let's bring you in, and then Malusi is going to come in and respond to some of the issues raised by the minister. Marvin, you want to talk on the issues of the lease agreements?
Yes, Tabu. We have people paying rent on council flats for 20 to 40 years. This is unacceptable. This is totally unacceptable. Why should our people be paying rent for so long? As soon as the Patriotic Alliance comes into government, come into council, we will give our people title deeds. I just want to touch on something you asked, Mr. Boy. Why do some people are allowed and others are not allowed? He didn't answer the question. And this is what I said in the beginning. They are playing political games with our people, and they are scoring points by doing this. And I want to go back. Mr. Boy asked me, where was I? The city is a construction site as we are speaking. But let's look at the quality of houses that they are building our people. We are looking at a 1-bedroom, a 2-bedroom for a family of 10 to 15 people, Tabu. You have young boys, young girls, teenagers sleeping, sharing the same room with their parents, witnessing what adults should be doing at that young age. And this is where you find we sit with the social problems in our communities, because a lack of housing is a lack of dignity. We have flats in Woodlands, in Mitchell's Plain. We have pensioners that have been living there for 20, 30 years, and they are still paying rent. This is unacceptable. And why can't we give our people the title deeds? I'm
going to give Malusi a moment to answer, but I want to take this call from Unati as well, calling us tonight with a question for you, Malusi, and then you'll answer all of those. Hopefully we can try and remember all of them. Unati, good evening, and thank you for your time.
Good evening, Tabo and the team. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Go for it.
Yes, that's very nice, Tabo. Tabo, mine is a simple one. It's directed to the MMC, the representative from the DA. I just want to find out from him, is there any law that preventing the DA-led municipality from acquiring land, Tabo, and then build proper decent houses, decent low-cost houses inside the city and in the affluent white suburbs? The last one is that that because they refuse to integrate the people, the poor with the rich. And if that is the case, that to me then it sounds like it's a different type of apartheid where money is used instead of race. Thank you very much.
I appreciate your time. Thank you very much. Malusi, let's get into those then issues that have been raised. The one is, of course, about the quality of the housing you're building in Delft, one-room, bedroom houses, and whether you think that is suffice. But two, what is there in law that prevents you from building houses in affluent white areas?
Let's start with Marvin. I don't know if Marvin is quite aware of the surroundings. I can take him tomorrow to Delft on the Eindhoven site and also on the broader side of Delft on the quality of the houses that were built there. So I don't know what he's talking about. We build according to the National Housing Code your 40 square meter houses with 2 bedrooms, a lounge and a kitchen. So I don't know what he's referring to. On all our sites, we have contractors.
Mr. Boy, how do you expect a family of 10 to live in a 2-bedroom house? Do you live in a 2-bedroom house, sir? How do you expect our people to live in a 2-bedroom house? A family of 10 people.
All right, Marvin. Okay, Marvin.
It's unacceptable.
All right.
We have 33,000 backyard dwellers in Hanover Park alone.
All right.
33,000 backyard dwellers in Hanover Park alone. You are talking about Delft. You're constantly talking about Delft. What about Blikkiesdorp that was created by Jan Zille? When are you giving those people their houses?
All right, Marvin. Marvin, give him an opportunity to respond. Give him an opportunity to respond. Yes, Malusi, go for it.
Listen, you'll get a chance to respond. Blakey is part of the area that we are getting rid of. If you go to Delft, most people who are in Delft today, they are coming from Blikkiesdorp. We've built them proper house and brick and mortar houses. Because part of that area, which is Blikkiesdorp, the AXA is extending the runway. So those people will be moved, and that's why we're taking them to houses. Now, I want to go to an issue that has been raised by Minister, and I so seek the commitment of the sites that we have raised. Because what is happening here, Tam, we are running away. Now we're talking about some properties that are on a flash drive. Let's leave those. I will be in that meeting. I want us to be consistent with what we are saying. I'm saying the land parcels that she asked for, and I asked for a commitment of a date when they will be handed over to the city. I need that commitment. Yes. Now, on the caller that was calling now.
Yeah, around asking, building houses, social housing in affluent parts of this city.
We are buying some of the properties where we can get. That's why.
Where exactly? Where exactly are you buying?
Let me make an example. Next to Parliament, the South African Parliament, we have a site there that will be developing for social housing. That is in the inner city. That's prime land. So I don't know this idea that we don't develop. So all these sites that we're referring to are in the inner city. They are closer to transport nodes and economic opportunities. Now, on the issue also of Sandral, we have bought land also in Strand to make sure that Sandral relocates the N2. And also, as I've indicated previously, we're dealing with Paul de Vley. We'll be doing a development. Now, what I'm asking for from the minister, and which she has not responded, on Acacia, because Thabo, I don't care whether it's a DA member or not. That particular site, which is 50 hectares, must be given to the poor so that we can develop. It's closer to where people work. Let us have that site.
You're not answering on the question of DA MECs who are given free housing.
There's MECs of DA don't get houses. I know them personally. They don't get houses. That is a lie. She must indicate. Some of them are staying in Parkland. Some of them are staying in Botterset. That is a lie. If she can produce a property that belongs to government, that is staying an MEC of the DA, she must bring it to me. And she can produce it even now. That's why I'm saying what the minister is doing now, if you can make grant with her, she's going all over the show. And the only thing that is required in this interview is a commitment. And I'm not getting that commitment.
All right.
Because
Let's see if we can get that commitment for you, Malusi, when we come back from the break. From the Minister, Wingsfield is the big question, Minister. And when are you releasing that parcel of land? Patricia, the leader of the Good Party and Public Works and Infrastructure Minister. We also have the City of Cape Town's Mayoral Committee member for Human Settlements, Malusi Boy, and Patriotic Alliance Cape Town Mayoral candidate, Marvin Sampson. All right. Welcome back live with us tonight, the leader of the Good Party, Patricia de Lille. She's the Public Works and Infrastructure Minister as well. There's been this call for the minister to release Acacia, 50 hectares that need to be released, Minister. We'll get to that in a moment. Plus, of course, commitment today on when Wingsfield will be sorted out.
You know, it's, you know, when you are a scripted spokesperson,
Oh, there's that line again.
and then they give you a script. You just stick to the script. And Malusi is doing very well as a scripted spokesperson. Malusi, I've said to you, next week, when you bring your asset register, and I bring the other two, and we are on our walkabout, then we can talk about all the land that's available from all three spheres of government. And you must stop crying about national land. You've got enough, my brother. You've got enough. Don't let the people script you so wrong. They must script you to at least acknowledge that on the provincial asset register, currently, you've got 450 pieces of vacant land. So I'll meet you next week, my brother. We go in that walkabout, and then if you want a commitment, I will give a commitment there when you open up your asset register. And if you don't want to open up your asset register, I will do it for you. But come, my scripted brother, you're now on TV tonight. You can't deviate from your script because your bosses are watching you. But next week, I'll get you on the walkabout.
Oh, dear. Let's look at what... yeah, you can respond to that.
I'm sure you would have realized that I've not even moved my eyes from the script. I don't have a script. But however, all I want to say that there is no commitment. And I've made a commitment on all the land parcels that she had raised. And they, part of the play, I responded. And I even indicated that some of that is in planning stages. Some of the sites that she has raised, we have construction. Next to her house, in Pinelands, we have a Conradi project. I'm not talking flesh drives here. I'm talking facts. She must, when is she releasing Acacia Park? When is she releasing Yansfield? When is she releasing the record? Let's not beat around the bush and talk about beating. Let's talk about the actual stuff. Now, on all the questions that have been raised to me, by Marvin and the minister, I've responded.
Do you accept that there are 450 pieces of land that are owned by the province?
It doesn't know because it doesn't
remember, Thabo, let's not be fooled here. Here we're talking about sites that she requested, now she's denying Cape Town citizens. Let's not be fooled. The flash drive that she's talking about, she's trying to divert our conversation. I'm saying, let us speak on the sites at hand here. Now it becomes a joke to her. That's why she's laughing about it. It's not a joke to me because I'm confronted
with more than 300,000 people
that are seeking housing opportunities every day.
Yeah.
We'll meet you next week.
Is not laughter to me because it's a serious
issue. Are you committing to bringing your asset register next week?
Yes, I'm ready.
I have it. As I've said, my asset register that belongs to HumanSettlements. There's construction underway. I can even send you this evening, Tam.
Yeah.
What I want is for me to deal with the backlog that I have, which is more than 300,000.
We would love to be, Marvin, I saw you and I'm going to acknowledge you. I'm going to give you an opportunity now. We would love to be in that meeting where you present your asset register and she presents her asset register. Yeah. Can we make that commitment so that we can really know how many pieces of land are available in the city and in the province?
Thabo, we've answered that. I don't have a problem with that appointment. But what I'm going at is that it's the lands, that parcels that we're talking about now. Let's leave the ones that are on the flash drive. We'll deal with them next week.
So we are talking. Are we only talking about the 11 The
11 I've answered them. Yeah. They are on planning phases and we are on construction. That's why I even gave you the names of social housing institutes Communicate, Soko, and all of them, they are under construction. What I'm asking, when is she releasing Acacia Park? When is she releasing Winsfield? When is she releasing Youngsville? Those are the main three sites that can assist me to deliver more than 20,000 housing opportunities in this in the next years to come. Now, she must not go all over the show and talk about flash discs now. It's not our business.
The flash drive, Minister, you're going to have to present the flash drive as well and not just talk about it. But Marvin, yes, coming.
Yes, Tabu. Tabu, the city of Cape Town have enough land. The minister rightfully just said they have 450 pieces of land. There's more than enough land. And Mr. Boy is continuously playing it off to the minister. And this is the problem that we have.
He says those are pieces of land that exist on a flash drive. He wants to focus on the ones that he's been talking about here today.
Let's talk about, you see, Tabo,
I also just want to add...
hold on, Malusi, hold on. Let's give Marvin an opportunity to finish. Yes, Marvin?
I also just want to add, Tabu, the city, the DA is keeping land for funders for development. This is what they are doing. We have a situation, they mentioned Woodstock Hospital earlier on. We have people living in Woodstock Hospital since 2017. 1,400 people living there. And why do I know this? Because one of our members lives there. And the city does nothing for these people. The city does nothing. There's more than enough land. Youngfield and Wingfield has been there all the years. And let me just answer the question or pose this question. Tabu asked it earlier on. Why are some allowed and others are not? Why are our people not allowed to build houses or set up structures on Hangberg? But our people are allowed to do this in Delft. And this has got nothing to do with color. This has got nothing to do with race, whatsoever. It is the location. The location of these structures going up is a problem for the city of Cape Town.
I want to take some WhatsApp messages so that we can get our final and wrapping thoughts tonight. People have sent through a number of them on 072-110-5584. If Minister Patricia de Lille insists that there is ample council-owned land available in the city of Cape Town for well-located affordable housing, why did she do virtually nothing about it during her time as mayor? That's Norman from Somerset West. Malusi Boy is a professional liar. I've been to Hout Bay. Nothing is going on there. Instead, they are planning to build shacks instead of houses on the available land in the Guguletu area there. There have been houses for the past 4 years. They are incomplete through vandalism. Blue lies from Malusi. Tabang from Guguletu. Khomotso from Cape Town. I think it's high time municipalities must have brick-making factories and have our people build their own houses very cheap, and empowering unskilled people in the process, and build flats for young people instead of RDPs. Siandam Da saying the challenge of affordable housing is not a headache for the Cape Town Metro only. This is a political problem that needs to be resolved across the country. All the metros in the country face the same problem. Politicians need to be realistic when making promises to the masses. That is Sianda in Flagstaff. Good evening, Tabo. It is so disappointing to hear Malusi Boy lying to the people of South Africa, where else he's the one who doesn't care about the poor. He doesn't even come to the disadvantaged areas like Marikana, COVID, and the informal settlements where blacks are in Cape Town. They keep on blaming National. I've personally been writing letters to him, but he is so ignorant and full of promises. That's Tando in Cape Town. Minister, you've done nothing. Well, you were there.
Yes, you know what, I do think I need to also give Malusi Boy also a lesson in how the law works. I will advise him to go and read GIAMA as the Government Immovable Asset Management Act and how you dispose of government immovable assets. I will advise him that his caucus must approach the Speaker of the National Assembly, and the caucus must say to the Speaker they don't want housing there because they don't live alone there. And what is the alternative to put, where do you put members of parliament that don't live in Cape Town? And the third thing that I will advise him is that when we meet next week and we have all of this land passes available, I will also produce some of the land that I've released in the past 2 years to the Western Cape, like I've done to all other provinces. Now, here's the point, Tabu. I've been a minister for 2 years. I cannot solve all the housing problems that the DA failed to solve in 10 years. Because their policy is, and this is their message to people of color, yes, you are good enough to vote for us, but you're not good enough to live with us. And that is their policy. And the more they're trying to skirt around this, the more South Africans can see that they are blue liars. I look forward to next week. Acacia Park has been there since the National Party days. You have to consult. Where do you put those members of parliament? They don't have houses in Cape Town. Oh, and you must also go and read the Western Cape Ministerial Handbook and Guidelines. And you will see there that if an MEC lives further than 50 kilometers outside of Cape Town, they get free housing.
Yeah, it says the blue lie. This is another lie he's exposing here today.
He's not well informed. You know, you must go and read also. And
yeah.
I'll help you.
I'll give an opportunity. Okay, Malusi, I literally, let me tell you, I have a minute and I have to finish this conversation in a minute. So
but the problem is that we're finishing that minute with one person because she's raising a lot of allegations that are not true. So I need to clarify them before we conclude the program.
Go for it.
Because on the issue of the
you're spending on that handbook, minute. Go for it, yeah.
Yes. Because on the ministerial handbook, Minister Tesha Simas, he's from George. He lives at his house. It's a lie. He lives... George is more than 400 kilometers from
Can I have a moment before we finish, please?
Now, so let us not raise the issues that are not making sense.
No, I don't have a problem.
Unfortunately, I am completely out of time. We're going to have to leave it there. There's a lot still to cover. I'm looking forward to that meeting. I hope that you will invite us to that meeting where the asset register will be put on the table so that we can wrap up some of the issues that still have not been addressed tonight. Good Party leader Patricia de Lille, City of Cape Town's MMC, Malusi Boy, and Patriotic Alliance Cape Town Mayoral candidate Marvin Sampson. Appreciate your time. Thank you very much for joining us. Fortunately, we couldn't get to all those issues tonight.